Welcome to the Alberta Freemason podcast. I'm Preston Meyer, chaplain and past master of Acacia Lodge number 11 in Edmonton, and the editor of this production. And for the sake of our discussion today, I also belong to Royal Arch chapter, Preceptory of Knights Templar, the Holy Royal Arch Knight Templar Priests, and the Allied Masonic degrees.
My name is John Hayes. I'm Worshipful Master of Highlands Unity Lodge number 168, and I am a member of a number of concordant independent bodies. Royal Arch, I'm a past first principal there. Knights Templar, Holy Royal Arch Knight Templar Priests, a Cryptic Council, the Allied Masonic degrees, Spiritual Knight, the Order of St. Patrick, Order of Athelstan, Martinist Order of the Golden and Rosy Cross, and a number of others. I'm active in some of them and less active in others.
I am Right Worshipful Brother Tobias Terrill in Craft Lodge. Obviously, I'm a past master, past DDGM. In Royal Arch, I'm a past first principal. I'm a Knights Templar, working my way through the chairs. I'm Cryptic Rite, Royal Arch Mariner, Red Cross of Constantine, and York Rite Sovereign College of North America, and I'm a past governor of my local college there. And we've got a special guest with us this evening. Matt, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Very Worshipful Brother Matheson. I am a member of Acacia Lodge number 11. Also, very happily a member of Alameda Chapter number 13 for the Order of the Eastern Star with my wife. And we have a lot of fun there as well. Edmonton Valley Scottish Rite. I'm only a 14th degree at the moment.
I want to start off the discussion by asking a question. How do you describe to a Mason or non-Mason what impendent bodies are, or the concordant bodies are?
The Masonic Lodge is a room with a lot of interesting things in it, but on the back walls are a bunch of doors that lead into other interesting rooms that provide somewhat different experiences from the Craft Lodge. The Craft Lodge is a basic building block. I don't really want to call it a foundation because that sounds like everything walks across it. Preston and I had this discussion, I think, a week ago about not really calling it a foundation. Kind of minimizes it. No one ever thinks of the pavement as very important. And in a sense, a very real sense, the Craft Lodge is a core part of everything we do. The other ones add flavor and color and different experiences. Some are esoteric, some are charitable, some are family-oriented, some are fun, some are just like a Masonic Lodge, an extension of it. I think they all have different things and appeal to different people.
Yeah, that's one important thing that I stress. First and foremost, you when you become a Freemason, you're a brother. And honestly, in my humble opinion, I don't think you ever attain a rank higher than brother. And some of these concordant bodies fill in some of the gaps within the 3 degrees, such as the Royal Arch and things like that. But ultimately, you're still a brother. And it's different avenues of fellowship, different meanings, different purpose. Eastern Star is a wonderful one because husband, wife can join it, or just wife can join it and enjoy Freemasonry as well. So that one has a unique aspect, but the rest of it is just an extension of the fellowship, right? And it's filling in some of that story.
The extra groups are wonderful, or we'll say the arms, because that's what they are, right? The arms that spin off of Freemasonry. They are very enjoyable. Sometimes they can be a little time-consuming, but I think they're very important. The Order of the Eastern Star for my wife and myself has been humongous. Like, she loves attending the meetings. My great aunt on the East Coast, we found out she was super high up in the Eastern Star. We ended up spending a lot of extra time with her. I love the concordant bodies. I think they're very important. I think they're very instrumental, but my opinion is that the Blue Lodge should always be the focus.
Many people refer to it as the foundation, but when Craft Lodge is strong, everything comes off of that. So if it's strong, Royal Arch is going to be strong, Scottish is going to be strong, Shriners is going to be strong, and so forth. It's just going to, an Eastern Star, it's all just going to feed off of that. Once you're in as a Freemason, you can be solicited by these concordant bodies or these appendant arms and things like that. And that's important for those guys, those brothers, to know that there's other avenues that they can join as well. We don't give these appendant bodies, in my opinion, enough focus during our Craft Lodge. I do think that every lodge should, every couple of years, have your Scottish Rite guy come in and talk about Scottish Rite. Your Eastern Star should come in and talk about it. Your Royal Arch or somebody from the York Rite bodies should talk about it.
If someone is a member of a concordant or an appendant body, in my experience, they're more likely to be active in their craft lodge, not less. There's this kind of canard that people talk about often saying, oh, you shouldn't join those, you should commit to the craft lodge. But what happens is the craft lodge provides 3 degrees and learning that is in a relatively small book, and it provides 3 or 4 experiences that can be kind of mastered within 5 or 10 years for sure, if not 2 or 3 with some serious study. And for the people who want to continue to expand and grow, the craft lodge can be extended with, what did you say, Tobias? It fills in the gaps. There's that, and it also extends some of the ideas. So it fills in some of the historical gaps.
As personal reference too, if you look at the York Rite side all the way up through to Knights Templar, and then you compare it to Scottish Rite, there are similarities in some of the degrees. And some of them just on the Scottish Rite just are the same degree, just without the religious context. And so that provides somebody, if you are a person who maybe doesn't have that specific faith to consider, say, Knights Templar or some of these others, you can actually look at Scottish Rite as an avenue to gain some of that insight without religious bias.
The degrees are repeated a lot, or very similar degrees are manifested in slightly different formats with similar backgrounds and things like that going on. So there's an awful lot that can be used.
Now, for reference to everybody out there too, one other thing you can do is you can actually search Canadian Freemasonry degree structure, and you'll find all of the Canadian concordant bodies and how they're all linked together. And it becomes a great resource to kind of explain and understand how one body leads to another.
I would footnote that by saying these are the common concordant bodies, and there are at least 100 more that aren't on that chart and that have a foothold or a toehold or a fingerhold in Canada in some places. And some of them are fairly big.
I have a question, because I've heard arguments about the answer to this question. What's the difference between appendant and concordant?
Well, I've got an opinion on that, but it's like everybody has an opinion, just like they have a lot of other things.
That's all we need.
I've heard said that concordant bodies are bodies that are that carry on the governing legend of the craft lodge, specifically Hiram Abiff, and the history of that. And the appendant bodies are the ones that do not. So the Royal Arch would obviously be a concordant body. Most of the rest would not be concordant. They would be considered appendant. I don't know if that's so true or not, but it makes sense that the Royal Arch and the Cryptic Rite would be concordant. The Knights Templar, the Holy Arch, Royal Arch, Knight Templar priests, the Allied Masonic degree would be appendant. The Scottish Rite would be mostly appendant because it doesn't actually carry on the story. And of course, it depends on what Scottish Rite jurisdiction you're talking about too. I guess we're talking about Canada here, but they completely rewrote it in the U.S. North. So
I don't know the answer to that question, Preston, because it is, you're right, that's a good question.
I'm a words guy, so I'm pretty sure that I agree with John based on the definitions of the words. Appendant is stuff that's attached on by any sort of means, and concord, a concordant body would have concord or harmony with the narrative, I would think, and probably the base structure of the lodge and its rituals.
Yeah, functions along with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the other one is concordant tends to have a geological meaning, and it means it geologically in sync with the other geological areas, and also it has a meaning in genetics. And for something to be concordant, it has to be genetically part of the same group. So that would make a lot of sense, because if there's a genetic makeup to Craft Lodge, it's the through legend, if you want to put it that way. And once you step out of the through legend, or once you step away from the Craft Lodge meaning and enter something else.
How many bodies do you belong to besides Blue Lodge?
For the next 2 weeks,
7?
I'm in 5.
John?
Maybe a dozen?
I'm at 3.
Yeah. I think I'm at about 12.
I'm at
Yeah.
7.
But like I was so very intrigued with people that I've met through my journey, of course, like Bob Taylor, who he is a part of and still pays annual dues to 14 different Masonic bodies. When we're talking, especially to our newer members, like we go, we visit, we do our Blue Lodge stuff. Yeah, we might do 1 or 2 concordant bodies, and that's kind of it. But how did these guys get to 13? Like, to me, 13 is absolute nonsense.
Oh, I'm near that, but we don't meet very often. The point of it is really to take it back and incorporate it in your personal life, in your private, non-meeting time. So you come back and in your study, which I'm sitting in, you spend time looking at the ritual, thinking about it, reading about things like that. If you're a member of too many things, it may be because you don't want to spend any time at home or spend any time thinking. You're opening, meeting, and closing. I don't know, 18 times a month. That has zero value to me. For me, I'm at maybe 5 meetings a month. You can add 7 or 8 bodies to the lodge and only double the number of meetings. If I had to do it again, I probably would join the things that I really love, and I would skip the ones that I find kind of meh. You don't know that until you join them. It's not like there's a rating guide and it tells you, oh yeah, don't join this group. It's only rated at 2. I mean, so you have to kind of join it and go, hey.
When I finished my degree of Master Mason, I turned to some of the people that I'd mentored with, and I said, okay, what's next? And many of them said, that's it. And I said, well, there has to be more. There has to be more to this story. There has to be some level of extension on this. And I felt like I was just missing something. And then I'd done a little research, and somebody said, and I looked, and there's all these different concordant bodies. And so I said, well, which one of these other ones can I join? And somebody said, well, you should only join Scottish Rite. Scottish Rite is going to fill it all in. It's just going to be the be-all, end-all. And I thought, well, that's great. And they said, you have to join this. Everybody's joining that. I'm the type of guy that as soon as you say everybody's doing this, my question is why, and what is the other options available? So then I started looking at Royal Arch and some of the others. Now, for me, I'm very tied to my faith, and so the York Rite side does tend to have a little bit more faith-based degree work. So I chose to go Royal Arch. And then once I started going through Royal Arch, it was like a thirst of knowledge. And I was like, I have to continue joining. So I did Templar and Cryptic the same year. From there, progressed through. And it's just like one thing after another. And before I know it, I was in Diversity College and so forth. And the one piece of advice, and going back to what John said, that I wish future Tobias, would have sat down with past Tobias and said, hey, slow your roll. Take your time.
If a man becomes a Mason at 25, presumably he has 65 years of Masonic life, certainly 50, maybe more at 25. Anybody who at 25 suggests that he has to be a member of everything by 28 is missing the point. It's a lifelong thing. You've got lots of time. And so, if you join at 25, I would suggest stay at your craft lodge only till you're 28. But don't listen to the guys who say this is it, nothing more. Or you have to do, as you said, Tobias, you have to do Scottish Rite, or you have to do Royal Arch, and that'll take care of it. Your path is your own. So Matt's path and Tobias's path and Preston's path and John's path do not have to be the same. I've found that some of the groups that I've joined and people have gone, this is wonderful, you'll love it. And I have gone, as I said, meh. And then there are others that I've found, and there's only 1 or 2 people who have joined it around here. And I've joined, and they are meaningful and beautiful orders that provide a lot of spiritual and intellectual substance to my life. That's the thing. If it provides substance to our lives in any way, then it's worth joining. If all it gives you is yet another dues or yet another dues payment, and if you don't like it, demit.
I have what I think is a solution to a pretty big problem. And part of the problem is that in our lodges, there's a failure to satisfy the promises that we make when we say, hey, you should become a Freemason, or you should consider becoming a Freemason. There's a lot of things that Freemasonry is. Most lodges fail in one place or another on this checklist. There's all these appendant and concordant bodies that are actually really great at satisfying those needs. If there's something you were looking for in Masonry, it might not be in your craft lodge, but it might be in these other organizations depending on what it is you're after. And if you're really serious about it, you can take those great things you found in these appendant and concordant bodies and bring them back to the craft lodge, maybe patch that foundation, or if you don't like the foundation model, you can just make lodge better.
Thing that I see in the concordant bodies that are real big positives are they're smaller, and therefore you get less of the bureaucracy and less of the politics. They're smaller, and you get to know people better in the bodies. So you don't have 200 members or 150 members. You have 12, and you can become real brothers and real friends. And the third one is it introduces a lot of more interesting ideas and expansions on the ideas that are in the craft lodge. And so those are the three reasons I think that they exist. And I guess the fourth reason is it allows people to have more degrees. And you don't get to your third degree after 3 months in the craft, and then you're told, no more degrees for you ever. Get a couple more here and a couple more there. And over the course of the next 20 years, you can add 20 degrees to your life or more.
I do believe that there's a distinctive difference between each of the concordant bodies, certainly the ones that I belong to. And the only reason that I would encourage a brother to consider concordant body is, first and foremost, if you've got the time and availability away from whatever it is, your family commitments and work-life balance. So if you've got that time and the ability to join them, then certainly explore the options, because for some, Shriners is the next step, right? And they can go there and everything is great. I think for some, absolutely, Scottish Rite might be the way to go. But I think you have to explore each of them. It's just as John pointed out earlier, try some of them and see if you like them. And there's no harm, no foul. If you join, don't like it, and simply demit. Nobody should take offense or have any ill feelings towards that, anybody, for taking that step. We're all trying to find our own way, and we're trying to find something that brings joy to us and meaning to us and purpose. And so be willing to accept that somebody is looking for their own path, and each person's path is different than another's, right?
Of course, and it's important for what's good for your family.
Yeah.
Like, my wife has absolutely loved joining Eastern Star. Like, that's her favorite thing. She actually went home recently and was at a Eastern Star meeting in Nova Scotia. You know, something that, like, I sweet talked her into, because Rod just threw the paper on my desk. And he looked at me and he goes, "It's $35, Matt." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's $35 to sign up, $35 for initiation." I'm like, $140. Here you go. But we thoroughly enjoyed it. We're actually hosting a Eastern Star tea party here at our house with almost 50 people. Masonry is so much more than the Blue Lodge, but it's also not. Because I think that Blue Lodge is such a solid foundation of everything that should be done. I couldn't imagine myself not being a member of a lodge, and my wife couldn't imagine herself not being a member of Eastern Star now. Because, like, we have met so many people that we're very close to, and we spend so much time together. Like, it's the best thing in the world. All these groups you guys belong to, like John, you must have met so many people that you wouldn't probably have been friends with, but now you are very close with.
Absolutely, and you know and people from other places too, because a lot of the groups have people in. So I'm close friends with people from BC and Florida and the UK and France now, and that would never have happened had I not joined the appendant bodies.
I would think that the concordant bodies are absolutely essential to Freemasonry. While they can sometimes take away from our Blue Lodge, I think they're magnificent, especially the ones that include our spouses and having events that include our spouses, because that is one of my favorite things, actually. The fact that Freemasonry is always very inclusive. I absolutely love attending events with my wife and hosting events with my wife, as most of you know.
I believe that the appendant bodies complement Freemasonry. They'll complement you and enhance your journey, Masonic journey. They will provide you with additional context. And just like any other part of Freemasonry, you get out of it what you put into it. So the thing that I find most fascinating is those that are active and engaged in Freemasonry are active and engaged in additional concordant or appendant bodies. And so I would encourage everybody to consider that just from the standpoint of gaining a greater awareness of Freemasonry as a whole. Find one that's right for you. If you want to join with your spouse, take a look at that. There's a lot of cool ones there. It's all up to you, and you're going to get out of Freemasonry what you put into it. So take that step, continue that journey, and consider joining.
And don't be afraid to demit if it doesn't work out.
Concordant and appendant bodies enhance your path. So Masonry is a lifelong journey. It isn't a thing you join. It's something that is supposed to enhance your life, change your life, improve you as a human being, and allow you to grow and develop and become more of what you want to be. And once you have joined the Craft Lodge and become comfortable with that, the concordant and appendant bodies give you dozens of opportunities to consider how to improve your life by joining them. And what you can do is, going forward, I think you can investigate who and what you would like to become a member of, talk to members of these organizations, find out what's for you and what isn't, and by all means, as others have said, join what you're interested in. And as Preston said, and as I said earlier, if you don't find what you're looking for, demit and try again. It isn't a one-off thing. You get a lot of opportunities to join a lot of organizations. Each of those can provide you with great opportunities to grow and develop as a human being and as a man and as a family member. And I think it's important that you take that opportunity. And the last point is it rebounds back onto your lodge. As Tobias said, the strong member of the concordant body and the appendant body is a stronger member of the lodge because he can bring back all the successful things he learns there.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Alberta Freemason, with voices across Alberta and music from the Very Worshipful Grand Organist, Brother Emilio De Mercato. Happy to meet, sorry to part, happy to meet again.